Our next storyteller is Rhea Daniels. From meeting Rhea at a birthing conference to realizing we were neighbors in New Hamburg to sharing stories over tea and dessert, we have become friends. Rhea has inspired me with her commitment to the Mothertelling program. You will not only hear her story today, but you will be swept away to the jungles of Ecuador through her vivid descriptions and her ability to really set the scene for you, the listener. So be prepared to enjoy Rhea Daniels and her story, Finding Hope in the Jungle.
It is November 2020. I am masked up and lying on my hospital bed. My doctor is pulling the dead baby card if I don't birth my daughter in one push. Though my room is full of staff and I have many blankets on, I am cold. I am shivering and I feel alone. At my next contraction, my nurse tells me to push and my daughter is born. Instead of feeling joy, all I can think about is when I can leave this desolate place. I am discharged 48 hours later, and for the next week, I can still feel the elastic ear loop from the mask I wore cutting into my ear. Fast forward to the summer of 2021, and I'm taking my daughter Dia to an outdoor music class. We place our mat on the grass and wait for the teacher to begin. I place my hand on my belly. I have just entered my second trimester, and my morning sickness has finally passed. My body and mind can be at ease, I think to myself. A few days later, I get a call from my parents, and they are telling me that in the midst of a global pandemic, they would be moving to Ecuador. My family has always consisted of my mother, father, brother, and sister. Together, we have lived in more than 5 states and 2 provinces. Now my parents would be moving from a distance of 80 kilometers away to over 5,000 kilometers away. For a brief moment, I have to accept the fact that I will be having another child being born and grandparents who might rarely be involved in their lives, if ever. I am in disbelief, but that feeling quickly dissipates in all the noise surrounding COVID. The mandates in Canada are getting to be too stifling, and my parents want to go to a place where they can be more free and live off the land. They move a short while later. Vilcabamba, or the Valley of Longevity, is where they end up going. Known for its hippie health culture, it becomes the perfect place for them. It is a small village where the people do what they want, regardless of the mandates of the country, which were similar to Canada at that time. It is now September 1st of 2021, and I'm laying on the plush carpet in my bedroom. I'm staring up at the ceiling thinking, today I am 5 months pregnant, and today the government of Ontario has announced its vaccine passport system in order to enter what they deem non-essential businesses and in order to fly out of the country. I am not vaccinated, and I am tired of the government telling me what I can and cannot do. Tired of my OB encouraging me to get the vaccine at each checkup. At this point, I cannot even fathom another birth like my daughter's, masked up, disempowered. My dad has told me that he will be returning to Canada, and the thought crosses my mind of going back to him with Ecuador and giving birth there. As I lay on the carpet, I dream of a birth which honors my innate knowing and sovereignty. Never again would I relinquish my birthing power to another human being, even one in a white suit. I put the idea out to my husband. He is worried. worried that a medical emergency would occur and he would not be able to be by my side. This is not like Kitchener where you can call an ambulance and you would expect it to come. No, in the village where my parents live, they haven't even seen an ambulance. The vaccine mandates are also rapidly changing, and my husband is worried that the Canadian border will close. He is worried that I'll be stuck in Ecuador without my son's Canadian passport, unable to return home. But despite all these unknowns, I know that I cannot have the birth that I want, not here and not now. I also want to show my children what kind of mother they have, a brave and fearless one. At that moment, I make the decision to go back to Ecuador with my dad and have a birth in freedom, not fear. A month later, I arrive at Pearson Airport, the largest in the country. As I exit the passenger seat, I say goodbye to my husband and look back to see my daughter Dia sleeping peacefully in her car seat. Today is the day my dad and I are set to depart to Ecuador. This is it, I tell myself. As I enter the airport, I see people and their faces are covered in masks, and I wonder where they are going. Though I know where I am going, I wonder of the path that lies ahead. I have no idea who will be at my birth. No idea if I'll be able to find a lay midwife that speaks English. No idea when I'll see my daughter Dia, who has just turned 1, and my husband next. And I have no idea when my son and I will return to Canada. All I know is that in the village where my parents live, there's one birthing center called New Life Birthing Center. Sounds fitting, I suppose. A week later, after I'm settled into town, my mom and I go and visit the New Life Center. This will be everything that I'm looking for, I tell myself. As we enter the building, we see a young woman cleaning up around the counter. My mom introduces us and tells her my intention to give birth there. The young woman, Jenny, replies that this is the center's last day of operations. They have run out of funding. My mom then inquires if she knows of anyone else who could be at my birth. Jenny gives the name of an OB who worked with the center for cases that needed transfers. She also briefly mentions that there may be a new owner in the future, but she doesn't have specifics. It could be 2 weeks or 2 months, and I don't have that kind of time. So I leave feeling crushed. At the risk of not having anyone at my birth, I decide to make an appointment with the OB. A few days later, my mom and I are at her office. She is lovely, and it seems at that point my fate is sealed. I'd be giving birth in a birthing center with an OB. The next few weeks lull between napping, going on day trips with my parents, and eating a great variety of Ecuadorian fruits. Life is as is. In early November, I get a text from Jenny, and she says she says that the new owner has arrived. And she says I can come in for an appointment. I am elated. Again, my mom and I go into town and visit the New Life Center. We meet with the midwife Heather, and she is helpful, though she says that since she just got there, I can't give birth there. The place has to be reorganized, but to call her, if anything. I leave feeling even more hopeless. It is now 1 a.m. on a warm December night, and I can hear the cacophony of insects outside. Though my mini fan is working overtime, I still have a band of sweat on my forehead. I'm lying in bed, staring at the bright screen of my cell phone. I'm looking for flights to go back to Canada. I'm about a month away from my due date, so this is my last chance to fly back. Though the OB is lovely, I am feeling overwhelmed. Did I really come to Ecuador to give birth in a center? Can I go through with wearing a mask again? Should I just give birth on my own? But I have come too far literally, to birth my son in the jungle, with my husband flying in shortly before Christmas. Christmas comes and goes. I wonder if Dia was wondering where I was when she was sitting in her pile of presents. I am now 39 weeks, and though I love the heat, it is not my friend in this moment. Drinking fresh sugarcane juice at the local bar provides only a temporary relief, though the insects never leave me alone. I must have sweet blood, the locals tell me. I am practicing my visualizations for my upcoming birth, but no matter how hard I try, I cannot visualize comfort, warmth, or peace. It is now January 1st of 2022, and I celebrate the new year with my parents and husband. A few days later, I tell my husband I'm going to take a shower, and when I come out, I see a small red snot-like circle on the ground. I have lost my mucus plug. Now it is just a waiting game. At around 5:30 a.m., my contractions are stronger, so I decide to message Heather. For the next 45 minutes or so, no one shows up. At that point, I get up from my bed, open my front door, and see the sun rising slowly over the mountains. Even if I wanted to make it to the center now, it is too far away, and the roads in Ecuador are so bumpy that I'd risk going into birth on the way there. So again, I look to the mountains, take a deep breath, and decide to surrender to the process. I am at peace. Around 15 minutes later, Jenny and another woman sent by Heather arrive. They are warm. They tell me that they aren't professionals, but rather that they are my friends and that they are here to help me. I go back to lying on my bed, a painting of two angels above me. At 8 a.m., the sun is fully up and my son is born peacefully in a few pushes. It is done. Everything that I worked for has transpired in these past few hours. In the time of rampant fear, I am feeling empowered. The mask that once covered my face and mind has been removed, never to be seen again. I am brave, I am fearless, and I am sovereign. The next week is spent with my husband, our son, and I enjoying the warm Ecuadorian sun and eating plates of rice, fried shrimp, and plantain at a local restaurant in town. Then it is time for him to go home, and for a short time, it is just my son and I. 2 months later, my son and I are heading back to Canada. Again, the airport seems familiar. Again, everyone is masked up. And again, I wonder where they are going. This time I know where I am going. I am going home. Thank you.